What's going on YouTube? I've had people ask me pros and cons between building an AR, buying an AR, what's the cheapest route, what's the best route, what route do I recommend, and things like that. And those are all questions that I had before I built my first rifle that you see here. So let's really, this isn't going to be, an exact cost video, but it's gonna give you an idea on why I went the route of building versus buying. First and foremost, I think that it's very important when you have a firearm to understand the mechanics of the firearm and what makes that firearm operate. Not only from a safety aspect, but I think that it also will help you if you ever have any malfunctions, or if the gun hiccups in any manner, even if it's not a ammo feeding related malfunction, to help you better diagnose what you need to do to repair it and get your firearm up and running again. So I would say that's first and foremost the reason, and it's just basically just to help expand your personal knowledge on the firearm. I think that's a great benefit. Secondly, I believe there are cost benefits by going this route, and the benefits that I notice most are you're not going to your Cabela's, Bass Pro, Gainer Mountain and dropping $700, $800, $900. I mean, they have some I think Daniel Defense guns and stuff like that at some of the Cabela's around here, and you're talking $1,200-$1,500, and you're not going to be dropping all of that money at one time. By going this route, you're enabling yourself to save for the parts that you want and to build it on your own time frame, if you will. So for an example, versus running out and saying, oh, I don't have the money to buy that $1,200 rifle, I don't have the money to buy that $600 rifle. You can go to places like, similar to like I did, Palmetto State Armory, buy a lower. I think right now Palmetto State has these, actually, as of yesterday, I got the price right here, $70, stripped lower. And right there, that's something that a lot of us can afford to set aside, or it doesn't take us an awful long time to set aside, and you feel like you're making progress on something that you want. Same thing with the upper. This upper, I want to say stripped, was $39.99. So it's here you're able to make small incremental baby steps towards the finished product, like you see here. Another, I'd say the third benefit is that I see, and this is sort of financially related, is you're hopefully, most likely, and I mean everyone can change, but you're putting what you want on your rifle the first time. So for an example, if I go to Gainer Mountain and I buy a rifle, DPMS or a Bushmaster for, let's say, $700, that's going to come with a A2 stock, A2 hand, or just a generic stock, the A2 pistol grip, A2 bird cage on the muzzle. It's going to come with the Delta ring here with the plastic over the barrel. Might have the A2 front post on the gas block. And I'm not saying any of that stuff is bad. It's all very functional, and that rifle will, for the most part, run side by side with any other rifle for just shooting, plinking, just saying, hey, mine shot 1,000 and that gun will shoot 1,000. I'm not saying that they're not dependable. I'm not saying that they're unreliable. But generally, you see a lot of people, people like these because you can upgrade them, you can change things. I mean, you can obviously build them from scratch, and there's a ton of aftermarket support from them, and that's why they're such a popular firearm. So, for an example, things that I see a lot of times are, I've got a personal friend of mine that has a gun similar to what I had described, and he wants to change a pistol grip, the stock, handguard, muzzle brake, maybe even the barrel at some point. Well, now you've already purchased the parts that were on that firearm originally. You're taking them off and you're replacing them with aftermarkets, which is great, but now you've got parts that you've paid for that you never really wanted in the first place. A lot of those items, there are people that want them, but there's not a ton of people that are going to run out and say, "Ooh, I really want that A2 pistol grip," or "Oh, I could really I could really use a bird cage on the end of my barrel." I mean, heck, a lot of these sites you can pick that kind of stuff up for $3 and $4, but I'll promise you, the manufacturer is not charging you $3 and $4 for those items. You're paying probably close to the same price as you would be for a Magpul furniture, or anyone else. So that $700 rifle that was a good deal that you got on sale, that you were going to be quote unquote happy with, now you've upgraded it and stuff, and now you're probably up in around the neighborhood of $1,200-$1,300 by the time you add in, let's say $50 to $100 for a brake. And quite frankly, that's $100 isn't out of reason for how much some of these brakes are. A Mo grip, $20. A stock, you're looking at anywhere from $60 all the way up to $400 if you wanted to do like a Battle Arms Development PDW stock or something like that. I mean, so the price there can fluctuate. Well, let's just say $100 for a stock. A handrail similar to like what you see here, like an SLR Rifle Works. And SLR Rifle Works is a fantastic company. They've got amazing fit and finish on their product, but they're reasonable. I mean, you can actually afford to buy these. Something like this, let's just say $220 versus like a Noveske MSR or BCM KMR. I mean, some of those things are neighboring the $300 mark, and there are some handrails out there that are over the $300 mark. A barrel, you can buy barrels from Faxon, Mega Arms, obviously Noveske, like what I have here, all dependent on what you want to do with that rifle. But let's just say you pick up a fairly good quality barrel for $250. Well, you've went way over what you would have spent simply by just building a rifle. Another benefit of building your rifle versus buying is you're designing your rifle for what you intend to use it for. So a lot of the large manufacturers are trying to build a rifle on I guess you could say on a budget, in a sense, that's going to appeal to a large variety of people. That, I mean, every person is going to use theirs different. So one person might be using it for bench shooting, one person might be using it for classes, another person for hunting, another person for 3-gun. So it's sort of, at times it's hard to build a gun that fits all of those needs exceptionally well. Not saying that you can't. Something similar to like what I've done here. You can cover a lot of those bases, but if you were going to, build a designated SPR, for strictly target or bench shooting or hunting, I mean, I would have made different choices. For those. So, I mean, if I was going to go strictly hunting, not that this is a heavy rifle by any means, but I would have done, I would have went with like a light contour barrel, because I'm not going to be too concerned with, high rate of fire for long periods of time. Could have went with something, more of a skeletonized lower or upper, things like that. that are going to help you decrease weight for that application. So you're getting something here that is tailored exactly for what you intend to use it for. And the other part of it is you're going to obtain a few tools, like an armorer's wrench, vise, like a magwell vise block, an upper vise block, and those are things that, I mean, you might have a buddy that's building one, or wants you to help them build one, and you can loan it out or you can use it for yourself if you're going to build more than one. So those are things that you're going to be able to reuse in the future. And if you do go to sell them, you're going to get more than $2 or $3 from them. Similar like your A2 bird cage. I mean, someone's going to give you a couple bucks for it, where you're always going to be able to get a little bit more money for purpose of tools or specialty tools for the AR platform. So I kind of ran through and made a general list, and I think a guy could build an exceptional rifle, probably for around the $900 to $1,000 range, and that's without glass or optics. And if you were to look at buying, a $700 DPMS or a Bushmaster or something on the lower end of the spectrum from one of the big box stores, you're going to have more money out up front initially, and I mean, unless you're going to buy all the components for a build at once, I mean, then obviously there's no benefit there. But if you were to do any upgrades to it, you're going to quickly start whittling away at that at the money that you originally had quote unquote saved. I mean, we're talking just with the few items that I named earlier, you're going to be in the $1,300 range pretty easily. So there are benefits to going with a build, knowing the weapon, getting what you want, and I feel that you're going to be getting a higher quality firearm when it's all said and done. I mean, I know for a fact you're not going to get the same quality rifle as what I have here at Gander Mountain or Cabela's or anything. I mean, sure, if some of them ran into a slew of some custom rifles, like I know, and I haven't heard a whole lot of I know of the company, but I haven't heard a whole lot about them. I know the Gander Mountain here, they ran into some Black Rain Ordnance rifles, and they were selling those for around $2,500 or something like that. And quite frankly, if I was going to be spending that on a already pre-built rifle, I'd look into buying a Noveske or something from an extremely well-established gun manufacturer, or even a BCM for that matter, for even for a lot less than that $2,500 for a BCM, and those are going to be a great rifle too. So yeah, those are some pros and cons. I guess a cons for building a rifle is there's not going to be a manufacturer's warranty on it. You're going to have probably on some of the components that you're buying, there'll be a warranty, but you're not going to have a manufacturer's warranty. So I mean, that could be a negative to some people. You're going to have maybe run into some issues if you're not exactly sure what you're ordering, having components fit. A lot of the components are interchangeable, so I don't see that being a huge problem, but it is something that someone could run into without doing the proper amount of research and knowing exactly what they're buying and what they're buying it for. So other than that, there's not a whole lot of negatives. I mean, unless you're just not physically able to build one, then I guess that would be a con. But aside from that, I don't personally feel there's a whole lot of negatives to building them versus buying them. And I'm not even saying buying them is a negative. If you just want to get a rifle and be done, and you don't really care about any of the other stuff, it's, hey, if it goes bang every time I pull the trigger and that's all you care about, then you might be perfectly fine with a $700 DPMS or whatever you end up going with. So that's kind of my take on the building versus buying, or whatever way you want to say it, and how I feel about it. I'm probably going to look into doing another video at some point about doing a different purposes for different rifles or something like that. And then hopefully here soon, if it isn't as cold out as it is now, get outside and do some long range shooting and get that on video. So if you guys like the video, comment, give it a thumbs up. It helps me out, and subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.